Hi everyone. Bonjour à toutes et à tous. C'est un immense plaisir d'être ici aujourd'hui avec vous. Merci à Hugo et Grégoire de la Product Conf pour l'invitation de parler avec vous. And that's all, the French. I'm going to speak for today, and I had to practice a lot to get it through, but I thought it was not going to be a good moment to come here and jump right into English. But I am actually very thrilled to be here, and I'm very thrilled to be, for the first time in La Product Conf, and also have the privilege of, for the first time, being a speaker and being able to tell a little bit of Decathlon's story and what we've been doing from a digital and product perspective. It's been a lot of years since Decathlon has embarked on this trip, and it's not about me. I've been at Decathlon for 1 year. I'll tell you all about it in a little bit, but it's a representation of all the great teammates and team that work at Decathlon. And it's a great privilege to have a lot of them here on the stands. I just got the information that we're the #1 attendee company in the event, so that also represents the commitment and the passion that our teammates put between everything we do at Decathlon to build the best sports experience for our customers. I'm going to explain very fast. I don't want to waste too much time on telling you why I'm here, but I think it's also important that I lead the digital product organization for Decathlon, for the entire organization across the globe. I've been at the company for 1 year now. In 2 weeks, more or less, I'm going to be a full year here at the company. I am Portuguese, and I was born and raised in the Azores Islands. You can see a little image here on the back of one of the small islands within the group. I've been in technology all my life. I have a degree in physics. I started in telecommunications, working for Siemens, the German company. And I also had the privilege to work in a lot of countries. So spent some time, obviously, in Portugal, but spent some time in Germany. I lived for 10 years in Mexico, had a stint in Colombia, also a lot of countries in Central America, back to Mexico. And in 2015, I had the privilege of joining Walmart in Mexico to lead their e-commerce product and acquisition strategy. That was an amazing experience. I got acquainted with retail, which is my passion. Everything for me is about retail and the passion of serving our customers. And I also had the honor of leading the digital transformation for Walmart Mexico for a couple of years. That eventually I got the invitation to go to the United States and lead a couple of product portfolios from inventory flow to store experience and get this vast understanding on how a huge retailer behemoth like Walmart works and serves our customers. And last year, I got the invitation to join Decathlon, and I've been here for a year on this marvelous journey that we're going through. And although we're in France, I thought it would make sense to explain a little bit of the history of Decathlon from the beginnings and how that is connected to what we are today. So Decathlon is a company that was founded in 1976 by a gentleman called Michel Leclercq. It's the last one here on the image with the blue shirt. And this is a time where sports retailers were not a thing, and the passion for sports and the passion for making sports accessible for everyone is what drove Michel and his peers. And this is a world that managerial disciplines were not as they are today. So Michel Leclercq and his team from day one created a structure that empowered and trusted our teammates, that allowed them to experiment, innovate, because they were driven by purpose. Decathlon is a company that is heavily driven by purpose and mission. Every year, every single teammate puts on paper their mission, their project, share with their leaders and share with their teammates, and that's what drives them during the year. So 50 years back, this is how Michel Leclercq founded the company. If you fast forward to today, and us that we've been in the product world for a lot of years, all of this sounds familiar. This was not necessarily what it was at the time in other companies. So trusted teammates, empowered, innovate, allowed to make mistakes. And why? Because I trust you're going to do the right thing because you're driven by a mission and a purpose. And they started in a single shop in outsides of Lille. I'm not going to risk pronouncing the name of the little town. Basically started with a little shop that fast forward 49 years, because we turn 50 next year, we're the leading sports retailer in the world. And we are in 79 countries. Decathlon, for the last 10 years or so, have seen an aggressive expansion across the globe, and we're in countries as remote as Indonesia, Mexico, Chile. We are a little bit shy of 2,000 stores, and we have around 70 warehouses, distribution centers where we manage our inventory and our product. Over 100,000 teammates, and lastly but not least, for sure, every year or last year we turned over around 16 billion euros. And if you remember, I said the mission and the purpose were very important for us. So now, today, our purpose and North Star as a company is to move people through the ones of sport. And let me dig deep a little bit into this sentence. Move people, it's much more than just a physical activity. Move people is understanding the motivations, understanding the ambitions, getting people off the ground, kick-starting and then continuing. And through the ones of sport, it's just not the sport practice by itself. It's about the exercise, the teammates, the camaraderie from a teammate, and working as a team. It's that feeling that you have when you complete a run, and at the end you have that mental clarity and you achieved your goal. This is the reason why we at Decathlon do what we do. We're completely focused and obsessed with taking everyone that want to be our customers through the wonders of sport. And behind this purpose and behind this company that grew from one shop outside of Lille to 79 countries, there's a very complex operation. A retailer nowadays spans across what some companies might consider their own industry. So at Decathlon, we're involved from product design and product conception. A good example would be the balls that we are partnering with UEFA for the competitions, the UEFA EuroLeague and the Conference League. A lot of innovation, a lot of product design that goes behind it to be the most efficient and high-performing ball at that level. And also there's the manufacturing component. And we're working with factories in remote countries, and we have our own factories in remote countries that we have to manage that process. But then we also have to move that inventory. We have to flow it overseas. We have to host it in our warehouses. We have to provide the best experience to our teammates in store and to our customers. Because when we think about stores, we might think about the experience of going, grabbing a product, but then there's the checkout experience. But then when we go out with our bike and we want to repair, then there's the repairs experience. And then there's the e-commerce experience or the shopping app experience. And then when we jump into the last one you can see here on the right, Decathlon is heavily committed with the planet. We have been ahead of the curve for some years now on how we are taking care of our CO2 footprint, and also how are we enabling our customers to also take care of the planet. So we are very present in the circular economy, and we are enabling our customers to, if they want to sell their products back to us, we provide the solutions for that, and we create the reverse logistics and the reverse commerce to take care of that. And all of this, in today's world, is powered by digital solutions. Digital products, digital teams. None of this exists without a participation of a digital solution. Obviously, this is very complex, which leads to a very complex digital product organization. And this very complex digital product organization is over 4,000 teammates today. It's only in the product organization alone, we're talking about the product managers, the product marketing managers, the product designers, we're talking about over 500. We are organized in what we call 14 domains, and you can see some here on the right. We got e-commerce, we got value chain, we got in-store management, customer growth. And we have now 5 offices that work from central solutions. Obviously, Lille being the headquarters is where we have the biggest presence, right? Paris already with a very good team and talent here in representing the city. Amsterdam, which is roughly 2 or 3 years old, also already taking a key strategic role, specifically in our e-commerce component and customer growth. And then we also have offices in Nantes and Lyon. But because Decathlon has grown exponentially over the last 10 to 15 years, And unfortunately, from a central perspective, we haven't been able to provide the service, the level of service and the solution that these countries might require. And because Decathlon is a very innovative and entrepreneurship culture, we've seen a lot of countries and regions create their own solutions, create their own teams, create their own products. A good example, which is not actually good because we have to solve it, is we have roughly 8 operating systems for the point of sale, right? And so we have to figure out how do we do it? Because it's duplicating efforts, duplicating costs, and it's not providing the best solution that we want as a company. But that means that we also have offices in Madrid, Singapore, Bangalore, Shanghai, in Berlin, and so it's a very complex ecosystem that in the last years we're trying to figure out what is the best way to work. So how are we building the future-ready Decathlon? You've seen this complexity. We've seen how hard it is to connect all these types of bodies of work and industries. Remember I mentioned the mission and the purpose? This is the glue. And in product and digital, it's no different. So I'm gonna read out loud the mission. I'm gonna get closer because I'm not that young anymore. We build products that move people through empowered teams, authentic purpose, and bold collaboration. Together, we shape experiences that matter. Again, let me break it apart a little bit like I did on our purpose. We build products that move people. This is our tie-up with our purpose and our North Star. We want to help people move. Empowered teams, because we're putting in place the right ways of working, the right playground, that we trust them to do the right thing, that we empower and we allow them to innovate and experiment, and we trust them because they have an authentic purpose. Our teams are passionate and committed, and they're driven by this purpose. And a bold collaboration, because being a sports company, this is what is our DNA in our core. We work together. Again, it's not easy. Across 14 domains, we definitely have a lot of work to be done over there, but this is our DNA. A team works better than an individual. And together, we shape experiences that matter, because our customers also have their purpose, and we recognize that. And we want to do everything that we can to help them achieve their goals. So, like I mentioned, in the last couple of years, the digital transformation has been going on, and not only amazing talent has emerged through the ranks of the company, a company with so many teammates, it's obvious that curious people and people that want to experiment, people that follow the trends of the world will create those best practices and those ways of working. We also have the ability to bring amazing talent in from top leading companies in digital world. Like a good example would be the work we've been doing in Amsterdam, and now we're bringing a lot of talent in. So what we're seeing is a lot of amazing practices occurring along different domains. Not necessarily standardized, but great things happening across the board. I was just talking with Cedric today about everything that we're doing from an experimentation on e-commerce perspective, right? The way we do road mapping, the way we do A/B testing, and the way we leverage our OKRs. Some teams are doing much better on go-to-market strategies and product launches than others. So it's not about the teams that are not performing well, it's rather about what is being done great across our organization, and how can we bring that together in what we call the Decathlon Product Framework. And the Decathlon Product Framework, it's not necessarily rocket science. The Decathlon Product Framework is our flavor of building products. It's Decathlon recognizing that we have a unique purpose, and we have unique talent, and we have a DNA and a culture that is not better or worse than the others. That's not the point. But it's unique. And understanding our uniqueness and everything that's been done across teams and the industry enabled us to construct what we believe is the best playground for our teams. And right now, we are focusing on 4 pillars. As you can see here on the right, strong product culture and a sense of community. The product culture cannot live by itself. It's aligned with the Decathlon DNA and Decathlon culture. Innovation, customer things that come from the days of Monsieur Michel Leclercq 49 years ago. They carry you over in today, and we don't know who knows that DNA because we think that's how it makes us be successful. And then the sense of community is strong at Decathlon. It's very common to see G-chats bubbling with topics like generative AI for developers or circularity or other topics, getting together in meetups, getting together in offices in Amsterdam, in Paris, and Lyon. And one of the things that you're going to be the ones here from Decathlon will not let me lie, every time we get together, every time, is it a big gathering, is it a one-on-one, whatever moment we get together, we always do sports. Because we believe in that, in uniting our teams. So that culture is very important to us for everything we do. The second one is our standards and practices. This is a little bit more of the technical component, right? So we are creating the guidelines and the playbook for every moment of the life cycle, every technique, from the discovery to road mapping, to how we empathize with customers, our opportunity solution tree approach, our go-to-market, our feedback loops back into the beginning. So we're, again, grabbing from left and right and ideating around some of the topics that we probably don't feel we're so strong, and we're creating our standards and practices. The number 3 is about growth and excellence. So, again, like I mentioned, we strongly believe in our talent and our people. So we also want to create everything in our reach for them to continue to grow. We have Decathlon University, and we're working very closely with them for some years now on creating content and training materials for people to continue to evolve in product management, product design, and other disciplines. We're also connecting in events like this, and I just found we are the #1 company present here. So that represents that we as a team want to continue to grow, and there's interest. But also internally from a peer coaching and mentoring programs, and all over the Decathlon office, there's this eagerness to share the best practice in what we're doing and continue to grow. And the last one is what I mentioned, that for some years with the rapid acceleration of Decathlon, we feel that we have to do a better job in our global local approach. Obviously, we don't have the ambition or lack of humility that think that we're going to build everything from France, right? And a good example is I'm working very closely with our team in APAC in Singapore, and the solutions they build from a mobile app experience for Indonesia is one of the things we've been talking a lot lately. It's very specific customers, very specific needs. The shopping app that we have across Europe is not going to be is not the same that we have there. Same thing with China and everything happening with WeChat and other things. So we're trying to understand what's the best way of working, because the Decathlon Product Framework is not only for central teams, it's for the entire organization. It's not written in stone, it's not black and white. It allows flexibility for other teams, either central or locally, to play with it and continue to add on top of the library of standards and practices and way of working. But we want to figure out how to do a better job from a global and local perspective. And I actually am really proud about the approach we're taking. So we are eating what we cook. The way we've decided to create the Decathlon Product Framework is like we're building a product. We started with understanding the problem we're trying to solve. We started by doing research, interviewing a lot of people, sending surveys out. There's a lot of documentation over the last X amount of years that support the problem we're trying to fix from a company perspective, ways of working perspective. Then we jumped into ideating and what are we going to do? Then we jumped into breaking that in chunks of work and bodies of work. And we prioritize. And then we created a roadmap. So the framework itself is a product with a monthly product review that we get together and we review progress. Clear KPIs. Iterative. It's not static, it's dynamic. It's a living organism. And then if I jump to the bottom half of the slide, this is the moment that we felt it would make sense to invest and create a product operations team. So I don't see Chantal, but she's here somewhere. 3 or 4 months ago, I had the privilege to invite Chantal from our team to lead this project with me. This is how we believe a product operations team at Decathlon will start and continue to grow and evolve to support our product managers in their day-to-day, to help us elevate the game, to be more proficient at what we do. And they are the leaders and owners of the Decathlon Product Framework. But because there are only 3, at least for now, it's not enough. So in a good Decathlon spirit, we asked the organization, we asked our product teams and our digital teams, who wants to be part of defining the future of how you work? And as we did that, immediately 40+ people signed up. And let me make a pause here, because they signed up on top of their current work. It's not like they have, okay, I'm going to stop everything I'm doing, I'm not going to work on the framework. No. It's on top of. So this is an extra amount. This is a commitment and a passion to work better for themselves, but for them and generations to go. And these are the ones that are grabbing from the framework, the topics that I mentioned, and they're taking it end to end. They're responsible for that line on the roadmap. So one team is responsible for road mapping. One team is responsible for how we adopt and use OKRs. And this is very powerful because, as we all know, products will hit the fan, to not use a different word. And when we don't empower and ask people and they're committed to doing it, it's very easy to say, oh, it didn't work. From day one, I said it was not going to work. You fix it. No, these people are committed to make it work. They're committed to pivot and continue to evolve. And then lastly, like I mentioned, the first pilot we're doing to go global is with our APAC region, and Monsieur Mathieu Blanchard in Singapore worked very closely with me, is dotted line reporting to me, and we're trying to pilot. We're trying to pilot how a region can work and how it can contribute, how the roadmap adjusts to their needs, and how they come into the strategic planning of the full company strategy and roadmaps. And this is very early stage. This started 2 months ago. So this is how we think we're going to build a future-ready Decathlon. Investing in a Decathlon product framework that will create the plateau, the playing field for our teams to continue to be successful across the multiple domains in a very complex organization. And if I have to leave you with 3 things to take home, I would say that number 1 is, remember the story of this company that started with one little shop outside of Lille, with a gentleman and his friends with a huge passion for sports and making sports accessible for the many. And fast forward into a leading company in the world, turning over around 16 billion euros. The second is, obviously, to support all this, we created a complex organization, complex operation that ranges from supply chain, manufacturer ideating to e-commerce and circularity, which led to a complex organization that requires a way of working, the flavor of building product at Decathlon. We don't have the intention to be better or bigger or different from others. We just have the intention to create something that our teammates and our teams will appreciate and continue to be successful and serve our customers. So I've talked a lot about mission, purpose, Decathlon, collaboration, domains. And to finalize, I would like you guys to see a video of how all of this come together. How the teams in different domains and teams and bodies of work come together and collaborate to provide a seamless user experience to our customers. And I'm going to challenge you to, in your mind, try to understand in the back end of this use case how many different teams and areas you think were involved to create this use case. Let's take a look at the video. Merci beaucoup.